Section 17C. Information Protection.
17.9. Information Protection Procedures.
Information protection is a subset of the United States Air Force security enterprise and consists of the core security disciplines: personnel, industrial, and information security, used to determine military, civilian, and contractor personnel eligibility to access classified information, ensure the protection of classified information released or disclosed to industry in connection with classified contracts, and protect classified information and controlled unclassified information, CUI, that, if subject to unauthorized disclosure, could reasonably be expected to cause damage to national security.
17.10. Information Security. All personnel in the United States Air Force are responsible for protecting classified information and CUI under their custody and control. DODM 5200.01 V1_AFMAN 16-1404 V1. Information Security Program, Overview, Classification, and Declassification, 10 January 2021, provide the guidance for managing classified information and CUI. Classified information. Classified information is designated accordingly to protect national security. There are 3 levels of classification: top secret, secret, and confidential. Each individual is responsible for providing the proper safeguards for classified information, reporting security incidents, and understanding the sanctions for noncompliance. Top secret. Top secret shall be applied to information that the unauthorized disclosure of which reasonably could be expected to cause exceptionally grave damage to the national security that the original classification authority is able to identify or describe. Secret.
Secret should be applied to information that the unauthorized disclosure of which reasonably could be expected to cause serious damage to the national security that the original classification authority is able to identify or describe.
Confidential. Confidential shall be applied to information that the unauthorized disclosure of which reasonably could be expected to cause damage to the national security that the original classification authority is able to identify or describe. 17.11. CUI. CUI is information the government creates or possesses, or that an entity creates or possesses for or on behalf of the government that a law, regulation, or government-wide policy requires or permits an agency to handle using safeguarding or dissemination controls. Requirements, controls, and protective measures developed for these materials are found in DODI 5200.48 AFI 16-1403, Controlled Unclassified Information, 5 October 2021. Original Classification. Original classification is the initial decision by an original classification authority that an item of information could reasonably be expected to cause identifiable or describable damage to the national security subjected to unauthorized disclosure and requires protection in the interests of national security. Only officials designated in writing may make original classification decisions. Derivative classification. United States Air Force policy is to identify, classify, downgrade, declassify, mark, and protect classified information and records, and to destroy classified records containing classified information, consistent with national policy. CUI will also be protected per national policy. Within the Department of Defense, all cleared personnel are authorized to derivatively classify information if 1. They have received initial training before making derivative classification decisions, and 2. They have receiver refresher training every year. Derivative classification is the incorporating, paraphrasing, restating, or generating classified information in a new form or document. Derivative classifiers must use authorized types of sources for making decisions. One of the most important responsibilities of the derivative classifier is to observe and respect the classification determinations made by an original classification authority. Marking classified information. All classified information shall be clearly identified by marking, designation, or electronic labeling in accordance with DODM 5200.01 V2 AFMAN 161404 V2 Information Security Program, Marking of Classified Information, 6 January 2021. Marking classified information serves to alert holders to the presence of classified information, identify the information needing protection, indicate the level of classification assigned to the information, provide guidance on downgrading, if any, and declassification, give information on the sources of and reasons for classification, notify holders of special access, control, or safeguarding requirements, and promote information sharing, facilitate judicious use of resources, and simplify management through implementation of uniform and standardized processes. Specific markings on documents. Every classified document must be marked to show the highest classification of information contained within the document. The marking must be conspicuous enough to alert anyone handling the document that the document is classified. Every document will contain the overall classification of the document, banner lines, portion markings indicating the classification level of specific classified information within the document, the classification authority block, date of origin, and downgrading instructions, if any, and declassification instructions. The three most common markings on a classified document are the banner lines, portion markings, and the classification authority block. Refer to DODM 5200.01 V2 AFMAN 161404 V2 for additional information and marking illustrations. Safeguarding classified information. Everyone who works with classified information is personally responsible for taking proper precautions to ensure unauthorized persons do not gain access to classified information. Before granting access to classified information, the person must have 1. Security clearance eligibility, 2. A signed standard form 312 classified information non-disclosure agreement, and 3. A need to know. The individual with authorized possession, knowledge, or control of the information must determine whether the person receiving the information has been granted the appropriate security clearance access by proper authority. An authorized person shall keep classified material removed from storage under constant surveillance. The authorized person must place cover sheets on classified documents not in secure storage to prevent unauthorized persons from viewing the information. The following forms will be used to cover classified information outside of storage. Standard Form 703, Top Secret Cover Sheet. Standard Form 704, Secret Cover Sheet. and Standard Form 705, confidential cover sheet. End of day security checks. Use Standard Form 701 Activity Security Checklist to record the end of the day security checks. This form is required for any area where classified information is used or stored.
Ensure all vaults, secure rooms, and containers used for storing classified material are checked.
Classified information systems should specifically be stored in a General Services Administration approved safe, or in buildings or areas cleared for open storage of classified. 17.12. Security incidents involving classified information. Anyone finding classified material out of proper control must take custody of and safeguard the material and immediately notify their commander, supervisor, or security manager. The terms associated with security incidents are formally defined in DODM 5200.01 V3, AFMAN 161404 V3, DoD Information Security Program, Protection of Classified Information, 22 December 2020. The general security incident characteristics are briefly described here. Infraction. An infraction is a security incident involving failure to comply with requirements. The provisions of references D and F, this manual, or other applicable security policy, which cannot reasonably be expected to and does not result in the loss of classified records or in the suspected or actual compromise of classified information. An infraction may be unintentional or inadvertent. While it does not constitute a security violation, if left uncorrected, can lead to security violations or compromises. It requires an inquiry to facilitate immediate corrective action, but does not require an in-depth investigation. Violation. Violations are security incidents that indicate knowing, willful, and negligent for security regulations and result in or could be expected to result in the loss of classified records or the compromise of classified information. Security violations require an inquiry and/or investigation. Compromise. A compromise is a security incident, more specifically a violation, in which there is an authorized disclosure of classified information, disclosure to a person who does not have a valid clearance, authorized access, or need to know. Loss. A loss occurs when records containing classified information cannot be physically located or accounted for. This could include classified records or equipment is discovered missing during an audit and which cannot be immediately located. Data spills. Classified data spills occur when classified data is introduced either onto an unclassified information system or to an information system with a lower level of classification or to a system not accredited to process data of that restrictive category. Although it is possible that no unauthorized disclosure occurred, classified data spills are considered and handled as a possible compromise of classified information involving information systems, networks, and computer equipment until the inquiry determines whether an unauthorized disclosure did or did not occur. Information in the public media. If classified information appears in the public media, including on public internet sites, or if approached by a representative of the media, DoD personnel shall be careful not to make any statement or comment that confirms the accuracy of or verifies the information requiring protection. Report the matter as instructed by the appropriate DoD component guidance, but do not discuss it with anyone who does not, in the case of classified information, have an appropriate security clearance and need to know. 1713. Industrial security. United States Air Force policy is to identify, in classified contracts, specific information and sensitive resources that must be protected against compromise or loss while entrusted to industry. Security policies, requirements, and procedures are applicable to United States Air Force personnel and on-base Department of Defense contractors performing services under the terms of a properly executed contract and associated security agreement or similar document, as determined by the installation commander. 1714. Personnel security. The Personnel Security Program entails policies and procedures that ensure military, civilian, and contractor personnel who access classified information or occupy a sensitive position are consistent with interests of national security. For most personnel, this involves procedures for obtaining proper security clearances required for performing official duties. It involves the investigation process, adjudication, approval for eligibility, and the continuous evaluation for maintaining eligibility. Commanders and supervisors must continually observe and evaluate their subordinates with respect to these criteria and immediately report any unfavorable conduct or conditions that might bear on the subordinate's trustworthiness and eligibility to occupy a sensitive position or have eligibility to classified information. Adjudicative Guidelines. The Department of Defense Central Adjudication Facility is a designated authority to grant, deny, and revoke security clearance eligibility using the Department of Defense 13 Adjudicative Guidelines while applying the whole person concept and mitigating factors. Individuals are granted due process and may appeal if the security clearance eligibility is denied or revoked. For additional details, refer to the DODM 5200.02 AFMAN 161405 Air Force Personnel Security Program, 31 July 2018. The 13 adjudicative guidelines include allegiance to the United States, foreign influence, foreign preference, sexual behavior, personal conduct, financial considerations, alcohol consumption, drug involvement, psychological conditions, criminal conduct, handling protected information, outside activities, use of information technology.